Hi, welcome back. Today I'm doing a little bit of a combined wish list and anti-haul that I'm going to use as inspiration to try some things with the makeup that I already have instead of going out and buying everything that catches my eye. I know there's a bunch of folks who are doing a no buy or low buy July, and so I'm hoping that this will act as a little bit of inspiration for you as well as I talk through my process of thinking about what things are so appealing to me about that product, what I wish it would do for me, and what I could pick from that I already have that kind of scratches that itch. If you're new here, then welcome. I'm Audrey. I make videos that focus on dealing with rosacea and dry skin issues. In addition to reviewing products, I also like to use the existing collection that I have to really explore how makeup is a means of self-expression. And I definitely think today's video will dig into that. If those things sound interesting to you, then I hope you'll subscribe. Since I'm filming the intro later in the week, I can tell you I didn't totally appreciate the final makeup look until I saw the footage, and now I'm super excited about it. And so I think you're going to enjoy seeing how that all comes together too. All right, let's go see what past Audrey was up to. My first wish list item that I'm not going to buy is the Ritual de Fille Glow Serum thing. It's called the Creature of Light Full Face Serum Illuminator. And what appealed to me when I saw the photos for this is just that it seems to have a very soft kind of luminescent feel to it. It comes in 4 shades. They're all beautiful and glowy. And it's an adaptable product from the looks of it and from the couple of reviews I've seen. You know, it's something that could be mixed into your foundation or worn just directly on your skin, or, you know, the qualities that you hope for in that kind of product. But it's also a $43 item. And given that, I think it makes a lot of sense for me to see what else I have already that might fill the same purpose. So my go-to that I'm going to put on top of what actually has a little bit of a glow for the SPF, I'm wearing the INNBeauty Project Mineral Sun Glow today. It's not as reflective on me as something like the e.l.f. Version of this or the Supergoop one, but it does give me a little bit of that luminance and reflectiveness. So I think if I put something else on top of it to give it even a little bit more glow, I'm going to push that as far as I could. So the go-to that I've been using a lot is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I'm sure you're familiar with this product by now, whether or not you've seen me use it. And I often put it just on, you know, sort of the high points of my face. But I think for today, let's see how far this goes and use it more like just a primer to give my whole face that glowy effect. So I'll take the applicator and dab some on in the places that I think I might want to work with. This is definitely more than I've used at any one time. So, got cheeks, forehead, nose, chin. That should be enough that I can blend it to cover. Maybe I'll put more up at the ends here. And then I'm just going to use my sponge and blend it over. And this does have a little bit of coverage to it. Not enough that personally I would be inclined to wear it on its own, especially because on my skin, at least, it can tend to feel pretty metallic. But we'll just really get it everywhere. And so it's not the same kind of product, but maybe it gives me some of the same kind of vibe. I don't have a wish list foundation at the moment. I feel like I've managed to try a lot of the things that I was interested in. So I'm just going to use something that has been in my regular rotation, the About Face Performer Foundation. I have it in the shade L1 Neutral. And, you know, I think I forgot to tell you for the Halo Glow what shade I've been wearing with that. And for this, I'm wearing 0.5 Fair. The About Face foundation has the same kind of applicator, so same kind of approach. But here, I'm going to focus it especially on the areas where I have the most redness that I want to cover. I don't really need to put some there, but let's do some dots up here. go ahead and blend that in too. And then we'll be able to see just how luminous I am. I mean, I do feel quite glowy at this stage. I think on somebody less dry skin, this would absolutely feel like it was getting too oily of an effect. It might be a little bit more than I would tend to go for too. But, you know, I'm sure I can tone it down at some point in the process if I want. I think I'm going to put a little bit more foundation just here on my cheeks where I want a little bit more coverage. Next on my anti-haul list is the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. It, you know, I think it came out last year. I've seen a lot of positive reviews. People say that they like the texture and the coverage and that it has a really good feel, especially on textured skin or mature skin. At some point, maybe I'll try it. But this one is $30, so also helpful to save that money if I can. I don't actually have a stick wand concealer type product, which is kind of interesting because they're the default in a lot of ways. But I was looking around and realized that I just don't currently have anything that comes in that format. So I think what I'll do is use a concealer that I'm comfortable with that serves a lot of my needs. And today for that, I think I'm going to make use of the Jones Road face pencil. I have this in the shade 1, and it's an actual wooden pencil that you can sharpen. And it always looks a little scary to me at first when I put it on because, you know, you're drawing on with this thing and it doesn't have the liquidy texture of a normal concealer, but let's make sure I get it in all those kind of red spots on the inside of my nose. But when I use my finger to blend it in, it will really just melt in smoothly here. And so what, like at first glance, it always feels to me like it's going to be a mess, actually works out pretty nicely. I don't think this is the cheapest product, but if you're making an order from Jones Road anyhow, it's one to consider throwing in your cart. So I found it really useful when, I mean, both for spot concealing and for this, you know, where I want something that's just going to be like really easy to target and super blendable. And I haven't tried it on top of quite this luminous of a base, so once I get it all blended in, I'll have another look and see how that's going. Top of my nose is both really dry and also seems to be rapidly losing product. There's kind of a pale spot here, and I think it just has to do with my own skin color underneath. So of course the rosacea patches don't have a straight line to them, you know, they're wavy. Yeah, I think that works. And who knows, maybe I wouldn't even like the Natasha Denona concealer as much. Next on the list, I have a blush, the Haus Labs, their new stick blush, what's it called? The Color Fuse Glassy Blush Balm Stick. And what I liked about this, you know, from the photos that made it so appealing was that it both seemed to have a really soft, glowy finish, but also a good color payoff. And it looks like just a really appealing, both bright color without looking like it sits on top of the skin. The effect seems like it melts down into the base layers really nicely. But once I went back to the website and looked, I realized that there isn't actually a color in this range that appeals to me. So that would keep me from buying it anyhow. There's colors that look really great on the people that are modeling them, but none of them that for me are, you know, that one color that I always want to get. And I appreciate also that some of these colors look like they probably work really well on deeper skin tones. It's fine if lighter skin tones aren't as well accommodated, you know, we'll make do. And since the blush balm products that I have actually get a fair amount of use, I thought maybe I would do something that was just a little bit more of an experiment and play around with some other products to see what kind of a blush effect I can get. So the things that I grabbed, continuing on the illumination train, I have the Burt's Bees Luminizer here in whatever their rosy pink shade is. I don't know if I can see it on the package, but I'll make sure that I list it in the description. So I have this, it's a liquid glowy product, and then I also grabbed a liquid blush. This is the Camo liquid blush from e.l.f. And this is in a coral shade. Coral being the thing that I didn't see very well represented in the Haus Labs product, and that's fine. I'm sure I have plenty in my collection already. So what I was thinking I would do is to take a drop of the blush and put it on my hand, and then add a drop of luminizer and see if I can make some kind of like excessively glowy blush to put on, understanding that I am already very, very luminous. But that's fine, it's summer and I like to play around, you know. So just one drop here on my hand. And then the luminizer is in this squeeze tube, so it actually comes pouring right out. So I have a little bit of that. I think if I try to mix it with my finger, I'm gonna have pink stuff everywhere. So I'll just use the tip of the brush. This is the liquid blush brush from e.l.f. Kind of dab it back and forth a little bit to try to get those colors mixed together before I apply it, so that I don't end up with like weird patches or whatever. All right, let's see how this looks. Should be enough color for both sides. Maybe I should have focused it up here in the area where the Haus Labs example, they had all the models, but I've been liking to do the, you know, sun glow blush kind of effect over the tops of the cheeks and the nose. I might have to grab something else for the blending here. This is quite bright. It's interesting how it's going on though. The liquid blush itself, I find, I mean, it's extremely pigmented. It tends to dry down pretty fast actually. So I'm thinking this might give me a little bit more like workable time too. I'm going to take, this is the Ultimate Blending Brush. I'm just going to kind of soften the edges here. I'd say I am both radiant and pink. I haven't really tried mixing those liquid blushes with other products very much, but it's something that I want to do more of. And I think that can work for sure. Hard to know how much the Illuminator product did for the overall blush effect with everything else that's on here. I'll try it again with some, you know, some other kind of base and see if it hasn't detracted from the effect. I feel a little bit like a strawberry right now. I think that was last summer's trend. I forget. All right, let's see what's next. After this on my list, I have a couple of lip products, but before we get into those last products, let's do some eye makeup. I don't have anything new in terms of brows. I'm just going to go ahead and use the e.l.f. Wow Brow tinted brow gel. This is in Taupe, and just quick give my brows a little bit more color. Now that I have that, I think I'm going to do something that doesn't normally make it into the routine and just quick powder a little bit to see if I can maybe soften a little bit of this so that there's more contrast between the extreme shine, especially in the center of my face. I know I have a powder brush in here, at least one. I'll go with this smaller e.l.f. powder brush, and I have the Kosas Cloud Set powder in the shade Airy. So I'll just take some and knock off the excess, and I'm thinking here kind of on the inside side of the nose. Here. And I like that this is one that isn't severely mattifying, but it does take things down a little bit. I'm going to do, I think, a little bit right in the middle of my forehead, because right now it feels like the pores there are just extra glowy. All right, I'll give that a try. And if I get too warm, I can always add more. I'm not a super sweaty person to begin with, but we're going into multiple days of 100-degree temperatures here, so it's not a bad idea to have my powder handy. So for the eyes, the other kind of wish listy thing that's been happening is I started looking at more things from content creators who do a lot of eye makeup to get ideas that I could share with you all. And it reminded me, you know, how I ended up buying those expensive palettes in the past that didn't really get used, which is that I love looking at all the colors. I love seeing all the different kinds of textures and things people can do with it. And so I have to be realistic about, you know, how much do I use those things? How much am I going to actually make use of it? And also, eyeshadow is expensive. You know, there's some amazing indie brands out there these days, and those palettes are not cheap, which is totally fair. They should charge what they want to charge. But I thought if I wanted to bring in some of the color that I found really appealing from those older palettes that I had that are sadly pretty expired, that there was probably a more affordable way I could do that. So I picked up a few things from Colourpop, and I'll just show you what those are, and then I have an idea about what to do with them today. The main one that I was after is this Matte About Hue palette. It's a whole rainbow. And that was the thing, as I was browsing, that felt the most appealing to me, to be able to do like that one eyeshadow look where I had a pale pink and a sharp pink on the ends, you know, to be able to do those kinds of effects. And so, yeah, this feels like that will do a lot of things for me. And then they're doing this mystery bundle thing where you can get 3 smaller palettes for basically the price of one, I think. And so the 3 palettes in my mystery bundle were It's My Pleasure, which is a purple palette. So you can see those colors. The Baby Got Peach palette. I haven't even taken the film off the mirrors yet, but I'll still flip them so you don't get blinded. So it has those colors. One thing that I kind of wish they'd skipped is this pressed glitter. Some of the items in, actually all of these palettes, some of the things they have are not safe for like actually directly around your eye. And that's especially true of the glitters. Personally, I would prefer to not have to like keep checking before, you know, I put something on to know whether or not it was going to be okay. But I think there are people who follow a lot more Colourpop stuff, and they've already probably talked about it plenty. And then the last one that I have here is the Blowin' Smoke. And this is a black, white, gray, silver palette. And so that's there. The silver shade is quite nicely reflective metallic. And I like that there's a bright silver and kind of a darker gray silver in here. Not that I have an immediate use for them, but they were very appealing to swatch. And then because I know that having all of these palettes and colors and things like that tends to lead to decision fatigue and make it hard to actually just put something on for fun and enjoy it, the other thing that I picked up was just a blank magnetic palette. And that's so that I can pop some shades out, and I've got space for 12 pans here. And that way I can put together, you know, what I'm feeling like playing with this month. And that'll make it a lot easier for me to actually use it. So I like that that's a really readily available option with Colourpop. So the thing I want to do, when I put together that summer trends video, you know, there was the sunset blush and the sunset eyeshadow, and afterward I felt disappointed that I didn't have the things to do it. So I'm going to try some kind of a sunset eyeshadow look and see how that goes. I'll start by priming my eyes with the e.l.f. Eyeshadow primer. Then I think the way this will work best is if I start with paler shades and work into deeper ones. So for my first color, I'm going to pick a pale pink. Crazy cool here in the corner. I'll start by brushing the light pink up here, close to my brows. Extend that out a little bit toward the outer corner. Then I'll blend into it, trying to decide orange or yellow, or maybe I should go with a peach. Let's see. Yeah, let's try a peach shade. If I don't like it, I can add something else in here. I feel like I'm going to get eyeshadow all over everything with this big of a palette sitting here. But we'll see. I'll just blend a little too. Alright, pink to an orangey shade. And here we're at the point where people often use a darker shade to define the crease. On me, I feel like it's not even worth bothering because unless I lean back like this, you're never going to see that part of my skin. Even if I blink, it's barely visible, you know? So on me personally, I would prefer just to blend the color kind of either down or, you know, diagonally and ignore that aspect of it. But eye shapes vary a lot, you know? So I'm just commenting on that because you might not have severely hooded eyes. In which case you might want to pick a darker shade rather than the light yellow that I'm going to grab next. And for this, I'm just thinking it'll give me something to transition into for the rest of the eyelid. And I'll decide from there what my kind of deepest shade is going to be. I can also pop a little bit of that yellow toward the inner corner, which I think will be nice. I feel very, not exactly creamsicle, but you know, in that vein at the moment. It's a very pastel look so far. And then here I think I just need to decide what my deepest eyelid shade's going to be. And I know with a lot of the sunset looks, people have been blending from like a pink, peach, even a coral into a deeper red or something like that. But I think in keeping with all of the variations that sunsets can have, I might go with a purple. Unfortunately, some of the deeper purple shades in the matte palette are ones that aren't safe for the immediate eye, so let's see what the other purple palette can offer. Also might not be an option here. Unless I want to go with a, nope, not those, not those. Maybe a deep purple is not an option. I think it's something with one of the dyes, like one of the red dyes maybe, that makes it so that there are some things that can be more of a problem. Well, other options, if not purple, then I could go with this very murky, grungy kind of purple, or maybe I'll just bring it down to, nope, not that. This is turning out to be a little tricky. Okay, let's try the deepest shade in the orange column from the matte palette. Nice pigment on all of these. Oops, got a little bit there where I don't want it. I guess this is why people do their concealer second. Then I'll kind of blend the top of that up too. I think it would be fun to extend a little bit of color below the lash line too. So let's try a little bit of light orange. Well, that's cool. This is something new for me. You can see there's a little bit of a weird creasing thing happening on the outer corner there. Here too. Maybe I can just blend that a little bit. Soften it at least. Fun. Not exactly the same interpretation of Sunset that I've seen a lot of, but I like it. And I like working with the matte shadows too. I feel like it really just lets the color come forward, you know, instead of having the way that the reflection breaks it up. And both options are obviously totally fun to play with. But I've been appreciating a more matte effect. I think this will benefit from a little bit of mascara, so I'm just going to quick do the most sweat-proof, summer-proof option I have, which is the Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water mascara. There's a couple of smudges I'll have to deal with when they dry, but that's fine. And finally, to wrap this all up, there were a couple of lip products on my wish list. Well, one of them, not everybody is using as just a lip product, but we'll get to that. The thing that everyone seems to have an opinion on is the Milk Makeup Cooling Water Jelly Lip Tint Plus Cheek Blush Stain. And personally, I have no interest in using a cheek stain. I think with dry skin and the way things dry down, there's really no point. Color already stays put fairly well. But as a lip tint, I don't know, I really like that. I like the kind of stained lips, kind of, you know, what people call like the popsicle lips kind of effect. I like that a lot. And so I wouldn't mind having one of these to be able to wear this summer. I have a lot of lip products, so I don't really need it. I have talked myself out of buying one of these a few times now. So there are some products maybe that could stand in for me. There's also one other lip product that I wanted to mention, and that's the new balm lipsticks from Lisa Eldridge. They're called the Balm Embrace Melting Lip Color. And there's only a few shades. But again, they have that nice, soft, translucent kind of effect that I really like and I think is just so comfortable in the summer. And I think the Lisa Eldridge formula is meant to be more of a like hydrating, nourishing kind of balm, which I'm absolutely into. So sort of to combine those ideas, I grabbed a couple of lip products that I thought scratched the same itch, kind of. One of them is the Sephora Sheer Shine lipstick. Looks like this. And I have it in Cosmic Coral, so one of my favorite colors. And this does that, definitely, you know, blurs out into that popsicle lips kind of effect. Not quite the same color, but similar vibe. And then the other thing, this is what I think I'm actually going to wear today, is the Mob Makeup Hydrating Lip Balm. So this is different from the other lipstick formula that I was using a video or two ago. Comes with a little cap on it because this is quite a moist lip balm, tinted lip balm product. And I have it in the shade M139, which is this soft, kind of a brown, I think. But let's see what it looks like on my lips. And it's really a very soft formula, especially once it gets a little warm, with just a bit of color. Yeah, I'd say this is in that sort of like caramel light brown kind of shade. But it gives things a little bit of contrast from all of the other pink on my face, and I am looking very pink at the moment. And I've been really enjoying the formula. So that's a little anti-haul tour of my current makeup wish list. There's a lot going on here for a single makeup look, but it's fun to play around, and that's what makeup is for, right? There are a few things that I think I might take into the future. One of them is to try mixing blush with other kinds of things that I have. I don't know if this particular combination did much, but it's also a little hard to tell with the amount of glow that I already had going on. So we'll see how that might work on a different day. I think that my usual approach of putting the Halo Glow Luminizer just on certain points of my face is probably the approach that I would prefer. I feel a little, not oily, but waxy with this much going on. It does something to the surface of my skin where I feel a little bit like a wax mannequin, and that's not my favorite effect. But now I know. I think the Mauve lip balm serves as a really good alternative for going off and buying a whole bunch of other kinds of similar products. I don't know formula-wise, maybe the Lisa Eldridge one is a little bit firmer and less, not gooey, but this is a little bit oily instead of waxy, so could be different. But I don't need to have every nuance of the kinds of makeup available to be able to appreciate some different options and to have variety for me to try out. I don't think that I would normally pick to do bright pink cheeks and bright pink eyeshadow on the same day if I hadn't had that sunset eyeshadow kind of urge, but I will definitely put something like this on my eyes again and play around with different color combinations for it. I'll just do it on a day when I'm maybe a little bit lightly bronzy instead. And I think that's it. If there's anything on your own wish list that you are definitely not buying or talking yourself out of, you should leave a comment and let me know. And even if you don't know what exactly in your own collection could replace it, maybe we can brainstorm a few things. I think this is a really fun game to play anytime you see something that's new and shiny and exciting, just to go back to what you have and think about what you hope that product would do for you, and if you have something that might already deliver that. The answer could be no, and then you'll know. Go ahead and buy that when you can, but it might be that you're actually already right where you need to be, and that's an awesome feeling and a thing to discover. So that's it for today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Bye!